So you've done the work. You've gained awareness, you've journaled, you've reflected, you've written affirmations, you've reframed your beliefs, and you know intellectually that the stories you tell yourself aren't true, like all love ends or I'm not lovable. But then someone gets close to you and your chest starts to tighten, or that opportunity you've been waiting for shows up, but then you freeze. Or something good happens and you're just waiting for the shoe to drop or for everything to fall apart. Your mind tells you one thing, but your body believes another. And today, that's what I want to talk about and why that happens and what actually it takes to shift a story that's living in your body, not just your mind. And if we haven't met yet, hi, I'm Destiny Rael. I'm a trauma-informed life and grief coach. And this is part of a series that we've been talking about and building over these last few weeks. We've talked about the vows that we make in pain, the protective promises and the rules that we create for ourselves. And then we went underneath that to look at the stories and the beliefs that those vows are protecting us from, like I'm not enough, or love doesn't last for me, or people always leave, or I can't trust myself. And we talked about how to reframe those old stories, how to separate what happened from what you decided it has to mean about you. So if you haven't watched those videos, I highly recommend them, and I'll link them below. They really do build upon each other and lead us into what we're going to talk about today. And, that work, the awareness, the journaling, the reframing is essential. It creates the foundation. It loosens the grip of those old beliefs, even the old conditioned beliefs we've been carrying. It gives you language for what you're experiencing, the acknowledgement. But here's what I have learned, not just professionally in training, but in my own healing, in my own journey and working with clients, is that the cognitive work really does create the map. But bringing it into the body is what actually allows you to walk the path. Because those stories, they don't just live in your mind and in your thoughts, they live in your body, in your nervous system. And when you bring awareness to that work in your body, when you integrate the mind, body, and soul, that's when the shift really gets deeper. So today we're going to be building on everything we've been talking about and really bringing it into that body and that awareness. Because when something painful happens, a betrayal, loss, a rejection, grief, a moment where you've just felt unsafe, your nervous system encodes it. Not just the event, but the entire experience, the fear, the heartbreak, the shock, the powerlessness, the moment your body learned this isn't safe. I'll give you an example. Maybe you opened your heart fully in a relationship. You started to build that trust and you were vulnerable. You let someone see the real you. You shared your heart fully and then they left you, or they betrayed you, or they even weaponized your vulnerability against you. And from that experience, your system developed a conclusion. Love doesn't last, or I'm not safe being fully seen. And from that, you created protection, the vows, the beliefs, the stories. I'll never let anyone close again, or I'll never trust anyone again. And of course, that makes sense. Your nervous system is doing its job. It's trying to protect you from ever feeling that pain again. But here's what happens. Your nervous system doesn't just remember the thoughts and the stories that, that person hurt me. It remembers the feeling, the moment your stomach dropped when you realized they were leaving. The tightness in the chest when you felt rejected, the shakiness in your body when you realized you weren't safe. And now, years later, even though you've done the reflection work and you're working on yourself, even though you've maybe journaled about it and written letters, even though you've reframed the story, when someone new gets close to you, your body still remembers sometimes. Your chest might still tighten. Your breath gets shallow. You feel the urge to pull away. And not because you don't want closeness or intimacy, and not because the awareness work didn't matter, because it absolutely does, but because your nervous system is saying, wait, hold on, I remember this. I remember this pain. And this is where we got hurt before. And this is why bringing the work into the body matters just as much as the cognitive and the spiritual work. Because that creates the awareness and the insight, and that really opens the door. But the somatic and the physical work, that creates the embodiment and allows you to walk through it. And when you combine those, that's when the news story doesn't just make sense intellectually, but it feels true. And that's when you can have that knowingness. Because safety isn't just about thought. It's a felt sense. It's emotional. It's spiritual. It's your body, your heart, and your higher self all coming into alignment. So when your mind understands the new story, your body feels safe in it, and your spirit recognizes that truth, that's when the real transformation happens. And that's the layer that we're adding today. So how do you know if your body is holding on to an old pattern? Well, you'll feel it. Literally, your body will let you know. Maybe you've been, working on the belief that I'm not enough, let's say. And maybe you've even journaled about it. You've reframed it. You understand it intellectually that, you are enough. But then when you start to share something vulnerable, your throat starts to close or your voice gets smaller. You second guess yourself before you even speak. That's your body holding the pattern. Being seen isn't safe. Or maybe you've been reflecting on the pattern of people leaving. You've reframed it. You have an affirmation that you tell yourself. You know that some people actually do stay. But when a relationship starts to get deeper, you start finding reasons to create a distance. You maybe even start to test them. You want to reject them. You pull back before they can even pull back first. That's your body holding on to, attachment leads to loss. Or maybe, and this is personally a big one for me, but maybe you've been working on allowing good things to happen without waiting for them to end or waiting for the shoe to drop. But then when something actually does happen, you don't just let yourself feel it fully. You brace yourself. You're scanning the room for what's going to go wrong, or you wait for that worst case scenario. That's your body holding on to, joy isn't safe. It always ends badly. And these aren't character flaws. These aren't signs that you're broken or that even the work that you've been doing isn't working. It's just another signal to bring awareness to, because these are signs that your nervous system is still operating from an old pattern, a pattern that may have kept you safe, but now might be keeping you stuck. So how do you shift this? Well, it's not by forcing it, and it's definitely not by pushing yourself or overriding it. It's really just slowly, gently bringing that awareness to your own work and bringing your body into it. So here's how that might look. Number one, you want to recognize the response that your body's having and ask what it's trying to tell you. It's giving you information. It's communicating to you, through you, quite literally. So when your body reacts, when you feel that tightness, you feel the heaviness in your chest, you feel the urge to run, don't judge it. Don't shame it. Instead, pause and just say to yourself, okay, my body is reacting here. It's trying to tell me something. It's remembering something. It's trying to protect me. And that's when you might want to ask yourself, or your body actually, what is my body trying to let me know right now? Maybe it's saying, this feels too vulnerable too fast, or I just need to slow down. Maybe it's saying, I'm scared of being hurt again. And you don't even have to fix it. You don't have to make it go away. Just listen to it. Just be present with it. That acknowledgement alone starts to create the space and safety. Because when you fight your response, your nervous system is going to start to escalate. But when you acknowledge it with curiosity and compassion, it starts to soften. And this is where journaling, and I'm a big journaler, but this is where that practice can even go deeper. Instead of just journaling about the cognitive reframes, which is absolutely powerful, but then you can start to journal, to your body. Maybe ask, what is this heaviness in my chest trying to tell me? What is the tightness needing me to know right now? And let your body answer. Not with logic, but whatever comes up in your body. What would the heat in my chest want to say right now? Or what would that stomach drop want to express right now? This is how you use that awareness to the work that you've been doing when you really tune into your body, because it often has a lot to say. And then two, you want to offer your body new evidence. Your nervous system learns through experience, not just understanding. So the reframing you've been doing, that's a huge part of the practice, but you actually want to start living it in real time in small doses. So for example, let's say you are working on a belief like, I always mess everything up. Maybe you reframed it into something like, I'm learning as I go, or making mistakes doesn't always make me a failure. And you get it. You really do intellectually understand. But then when you're about to try something new or take a risk, your body tenses up or your stomach drops and you talk yourself out of it before you even start. This is when you want to start showing yourself what you're trying to affirm by taking small steps, doing the thing anyway, and staying with it. And then just noticing and telling yourself, okay, I did it. And I didn't ruin anything. I'm okay. You're giving your nervous system new data. You're showing your body and giving your body that felt experience that taking risks doesn't always end up in disaster. Or maybe you've been reflecting on the belief, if I let myself hope, I'll just be disappointed again. Maybe you've lost somebody you love, or a dream fell apart, or something you built in your life just came crashing down. Maybe you've reframed it. Maybe you have created a powerful affirmation like, I can hold hope without embracing for loss, or it's okay to want good things again. And you really deeply know that. You really do. But when something starts to feel good again, your body contracts. You feel the heaviness in your chest, the urge to pull back before you get too invested or, to put hope into anything. And you don't have to force yourself to leap all the way in, but you can let yourself feel just a moment of joy without immediately shutting it down. And then notice that. Okay, I felt it. I let myself want this, and I'm still standing. Nothing was ripped away from me in this moment. And over time, your body starts to update. And not because you convinced it and forced it in your mind, but because you showed yourself a different outcome and that a different outcome is possible. And this is how the mind and the body can start to work together. The awareness that creates understanding, and having the embodied practice really helping to create that felt shift in your body. And then 3, process what's still unprocessed. And this is a huge part of that. Sometimes the reason your body won't let go is because there's grief underneath that hasn't fully been felt. Maybe you tried to move on really fast or stay busy, or you stayed strong, or you've told yourself to just get over it. But your body is still holding on to that loss. The loss of the relationship, the loss of the dream, the loss of the version of yourself that trusted and gave freely. And until you give yourself permission to grieve, to really feel that sadness, the disappointment, the anger, your nervous system won't fully release it. It's stored in there. And this is also where that reflection can go deeper, not just processing your story cognitively, but letting it move through your body, letting your body feel what it actually needs to be felt. That might be just letting yourself cry, really, really cry without trying to stop it. Or it might be going for a walk and letting your body shake or move the way it wants or needs to. It might be writing a letter to what you lost or to that person and burning it or symbolically releasing it. It might be sitting in the shower and letting the grief just wash over you, or screaming in a pillow, or even punching a pillow, or dancing it out. Just letting your body move, whatever helps your body release what it's been holding on to. And these aren't just one-time practices. You'll do them over and over in different moments with different layers. And some days, your body will feel more open. Some days it's going to feel more protected or shut down. That's normal. Healing is not linear. But every time you acknowledge the response that your body is having and consider it as a signal, consider it as the information that it's trying to give you and what it's trying to tell you, every time you offer your body new evidence, every time you let yourself feel what needs to be felt, you start building capacity. You start creating that safety, and you start showing your nervous system that you're safe, that you can stay present, and that you can handle this, and you're going to be okay. And over time, that becomes your new baseline. And you can truly do that. Mind, body, and soul. That's where the deepest shifts happen. So this week, just notice it. Where in your body is still holding something your mind is working to shift? What happens in your body? What tightens? What contracts? What makes you pull back even though you don't want to? And that's it. That's all you have to do. Just notice it. You don't have to do all 3 steps at once. You don't even have to have anything figured out. Just bring awareness to your body. And here's what I want you to know too. This work, bringing awareness into your mind, body, soul, all the different layers, building safety again, trusting yourself again, it is deep work. And you don't have to do it alone. Sometimes it can really help to have someone hold that space with you, walk with you, someone who really can get how the body holds that pain, someone who understands the grief and loss and how that lives in your system, and someone who can really help you move at a pace that actually feels safe instead of overwhelming or trying to push you through or get to the other side. And that's exactly what I do. In my Sunset to Sunrise private coaching journey, I work with you one-on-one, and we don't just talk about patterns, we work with them. We look at the vows you've made, the stories you've been carrying, the beliefs that have been formed, and how all of that lives in your body. and we integrate it all together. Your mind, your heart, your body, your spirit, and we move slowly. We build that capacity and we honor what you need and where you're at and where you want to go. And we even process the grief that's underneath it all, because that's often what keeps us stuck. And then we start to help you to rebuild and to rediscover and renew those parts of yourself and help you move forward, not by bypassing anything, but by working through it and integrating it and bringing it forward in a way that actually creates lasting and meaningful and purposeful change in your life. So if that feels like what you're needing right now, I would absolutely love to support you. And so I'll leave a link below where you can schedule a free connection call with me. I would love to connect to you. And if you're not sure, where you're at in your journey, or even what you most need right now, because there's so many tools and practices for the mind, body, spirit. I have a free quiz called the Destiny Map. Yes, my name. But it helps you to identify exactly that. It'll show you where you're at if you're in that disruption phase of your life, or reflection, or the rebuilding, and what support might help you most. So I'll leave that in the link below. It's completely free. And in the meantime, I will see you in the next video, and thank you so much for being here.